Good evening! I'm back tonight to make another video, this one on the topic of simulation theory, solipsism, and sorcery. Now, simulation theory is a pretty popular theory these days, made famous by movies like The Matrix, and a more recent one, 1889, which was a film about a ship going missing in the Atlantic, and those of us who have studied occult history know about the Philadelphia experiment, which was an experiment that allegedly made a Navy ship disappear. So they're sort of nudging us with that show, 1889. In the scientific world, there are experiments and theories like Schrodinger's cat. You can never really know if the cat's in the box or not. It sort of depends on who's looking at it. The double slit experiment also corroborates this idea that reality depends on who's watching. Now this all makes a pretty good case for the idea that reality is nothing more than a computer simulation, and that we can hack the Matrix and reprogram it to make a ship disappear or something like that. But there's a little bit more to it than that. Simulation theorists, they tend to fall in one of two camps. The first camp being that of solipsism. And they don't, walk around saying, they're solipsists. They'll say they're simulation theorists. But the result is pretty much the same, where they see themselves as the avatar or the messiah, where they are the center of the mandala, and they are the Godhead incarnate themselves, and so everyone else around them is just a NPC, a figment of their imagination. Solipsism is this idea that one's own mind is the only thing that is sure to exist. And this leads to massive levels of ignorance where you just won't have a healthy way of operating with anyone or anything, because everything becomes suspect. See, most solipsists, they're so confused about reality, and so they're almost paranoid, and it's really such a toxic worldview where the pursuit of knowledge just goes by the wayside, because anything you could read in a book or learn from a video is just isn't real, is suspect, is a figment of your imagination, or a glitch in the Matrix that was sent there by the demiurge to mislead you. Although that tends to be more of what the other camp of simulation theorists fall into, which is Gnosticism. Gnosticism is this idea that the world was created by an evil archon, an entity that wants to dominate and control the world, and so they created all physical matter, including our bodies, to be this prison for our souls. And the Gnostics, they tend to fall into one of two camps themselves, where one group is very ascetic and seeks to liberate themselves from what they see as a prison, being the body. And they tend to shun the physical world and everything in it, and just to seek liberation through, prayer and meditation, things of that nature. The other form of Gnostic tends to be more malignant, where it's like a somebody who goes to prison and they decide they want to become like the shot caller in the prison. They want to be the top dog, and they're dominating and controlling everyone else because they resent being in a prison. Worldview tends to drive people's actions. If you believe you are in a prison, then it's almost natural to want to dominate and rule the roost. And so this type of Gnostic, they can justify their actions of unspeakable horrors and things of that nature, because if reality is just a simulation, nothing we do here matters. So it's literally like somebody going around on a rampage in a video game, not going to be held accountable for their actions. That's how they view things. So, those are some dangers of simulation theory, that you can become very solipsistic, and as an extension, narcissistic, because you feel like the world was created just for you, and you're the only real thing in it. Or you become a Gnostic, where you view the world as a prison and therefore you shun reality, or you take the prisoner mentality to heart and act out and try to control and dominate other people. The solipsist lacks accountability. They have a childlike mentality. They have a refusal to acknowledge the reality principle. Facts and knowledge will just bounce right off of them. Right. So, as an alternative to believing the world is a simulation, I would put forth the idea that there are, in fact, natural laws. There are fundamental, immutable constructs of reality that were put in place not as a prison mechanism, but as a structure for us to learn and to grow on. And so, if there are laws, knowing those laws, knowing how to work with those laws, can explain for the anomalous phenomena that are found in nature. If you are unfamiliar, you should become familiar with the Kybalion, which is a phenomenal, fundamental prerequisite for anyone on a spiritual path. This is occult science 101. These are 7 very scientific laws of nature that explain our reality, how it operates. And one of them is the idea of mentalism. The idea of all is mind. Everything is a product of the mind. And this is where the solipsist goes wrong. The solipsist has inverted this principle of mentalism, where I think I've talked about this in another video, but often people tripping on psychedelic drugs will say things like, I am the Godhead, I am God. Like, they start saying things that sound extremely solipsistic. And it's because the word psychedelic means mind manifesting. It's like it's like you're eating a psychic charge that is like charging your mind to become like more powerful. And so your mind is actually affecting reality stronger than it was in your sober state. And that is why people fall into the trap of solipsism, because they have a lack of understanding of the principle of mentalism. You know, the idea of like you're thinking about somebody and then they call you, and that tends to happen on psychedelics more than it does when you're sober, because your mind is that powerful. Like, if you think about somebody hard enough, you can get their attention just by thinking about them. And this isn't because you are the Godhead or the Messiah or the Avatar or something like that. It's because everyone has this ability. Because every mind is connected to every other mind, because mind is not a local thing to your brain. Everything started with mind. Okay, so that is one of the natural laws put forth in the Kabbalion. But another one, the sixth principle, the principle of cause and effect, states that all causes have their effects and all effects have their causes. And this tells us that if a cat is in a box or not, like Schrodinger's cat, there has to be a reason. A cat doesn't just manifest in a box for no reason. There has to be something that put it there. And this could be explained by high amounts of energy and technology, or occult ritual, which deals with high amounts of psychic energy. There's a movie, The Illusionist. The Prestige, where Tesla in the movie duplicates a cat many times, and so it's sort of a hearkening back to Schrodinger's cat, that you could theoretically manifest a cat inside a box if you have the proper amount of causality behind your intention. if you have the means to do it. So it's not that just by thinking really hard you can manifest a cat inside of a box. Although maybe if you were some, centuries old, occult wizard who, has attuned his mind so strongly to the fabric of reality, you could manifest a cat inside of a box using sheer willpower. Perhaps. But reality tends to be much more dense, and so we tend to rely on things like technology to accomplish our goals, which is why that movie, The Prestige, it had, Nikola Tesla using his occult technology to accomplish that. So it's not that reality is a simulation. It's a very real place. It's just, it's that when you understand the laws of nature to such a high degree as somebody like Nikola Tesla, you can create phenomena that is unexplainable to the layperson, to make it seem like you are some kind of wizard, when in point of fact reality you are probably operating under a very procedural formula. And I've heard it said somewhere that to the master wizard, all phenomena of nature is as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. It's everything can be explained, because going back to the 6th principle of the Hermetica, that all causes have their effects and all effects have their causes. There has to be a reason for something to happen. Things don't just happen. Which is where the simulation theorist goes wrong, where they think things are just happening at random, basically. Things are just unexplainable anomalies, and it's not worth your time trying to learn about them, because they are literally there just to trip you up or make you suffer or something like that. It's a very narcissistic worldview. In fact, it's a very me-centered worldview where everything is about you, basically, which is another reason why I don't like it. So there are natural laws, and there are sorcerers out there who try to break those natural laws, who try to bend them as far as they possibly can, like the mad scientists of CERN, seeking in vain to find the God particle, to try to hack the simulation, right? They not knowing that, like, the closer that they get, that whatever, if there is this God particle, it's just going to dance away elusively from them, because the mystery does not like to be dominated. It does not like to be controlled. The mystery of life likes to remain a mystery. And And so trying to find it is actually a vain pursuit. Now, CERN and the Large Hadron Collider, it is a means of technology that creates an incredible, electromagnetic charge that can be harnessed for occult magical purposes. So you have to wonder what kind of other psychic phenomena is being manifested in those areas. I mean, there's shows like Stranger Things where they have, these machines under the earth that are like tearing into the fabric of reality and summoning demons. The idea of the dwarves of Moria delving too greedily and too deep. Who knows what they might awaken in the ancient darkness, right? Summoning a Balrog. There are lower dimensional entities that could be summoned through occult means that would make a simulation theorist, jump up and down and say, see, there's proof of a simulation. It's like, no, it's proof of a magical reality or a supernatural reality, that there is more to the eye. There's more than meets the eye. Yeah, I guess I just find simulation theorists to be metaphysically lazy, and they tend to want to lack accountability for how they operate. All right. I think I covered that pretty succinctly after multiple tries here. I'll watch it over again and see if I need to add anything more, but I think that was pretty good. All right, have a good night, everyone.